Degrees in Milwaukee. Our high today, just 17. Tonight, it will be clear and cold. We'll dip down to 4 degrees by the lake, below zero inland. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Jessica Ty. Fire investigators continue to probe the cause of multiple wildfires burning in Los Angeles County. No possibilities are being ruled out.
We're looking at everything.
L.A. County Sheriff Robert Luna says they haven't ruled out arson as a cause of the wildfires. Another possibility is a small fireworks blaze in Pacific Palisades on New Year's Day may have reignited. Meanwhile, the Eaton fire may have been sparked by transmission towers. L.A. Fire Chief Kristen Crowley promised a multi-agency task force will find the cause and origin of all of the fires.
To make sure the community knows exactly where and how and when all of this occurred.
Matt Bigler for CBS News, Los Angeles.
A Trump-appointed federal judge in Florida is turning down an effort to block the public release of the first part of special counsel Jack Smith's final report. ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
This ruling clears the way for the release of the first volume of Jack Smith's report, dealing with the January 6th case, as soon as tomorrow. But Judge Eileen Cannon is continuing to put a block on the second volume, having to do with the handling of classified documents. Cannon is scheduling a Friday hearing on that volume, and whether sharing it with senior members of the House and Senate Judiciary Committees might violate the rights of Donald Trump's two former co-defendants in the case, who still face charges.
Smith turned in his work last week and resigned his post last Friday. A former Walt Disney World worker takes a plea deal. He admitted to hacking into the company's software to hide information about potential allergy hazards on its menus.
The criminal complaint says the ex-employee had been fired for misconduct last June. Court papers show he hacked into Disney World menu software to show that certain items didn't contain peanuts and other items and were safe for people with allergies to nuts, milk, and shellfish. Prosecutors say he also changed wine listings and changed QR codes to send patrons to a website urging people to boycott Israel. He pled guilty to computer fraud and aggravated identity theft. No sentencing date has been announced. Peter King, CBS News, Orlando.
Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year, the victim of stalking.
The Indiana Fever select Caitlin Clark.
Indiana police say the number one pick in the WNBA draft was forced to alter her public appearances and the places she went for fear that 55-year-old Michael Lewis would be there. Lewis has been charged with felony stalking, sending numerous texts and explicit DMs to Caitlin Clark from his social media accounts. Lewis is from Texas but was arrested in Indianapolis and acknowledged to officers who detained him any relationship he had with Clark was purely imaginary. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Here at home, a pedestrian has now died after being hit by a driver on Saturday. It happened near 76 in Silver Spring on Milwaukee's northwest side. The 52-year-old pedestrian was crossing 76th Street when the driver traveling northbound hit the person. Police arrested the 45-year-old driver. Charges are pending. Time for news about your money. Here's a look at the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management market update on this Monday. It's a mixed bag on Wall Street. The Dow is up 213 points to 42,151. S&P 500 and NASDAQ are both down, however. S&P 500 is down a little bit more than 10 points to 5,816. NASDAQ is down 153 points to 19,008. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth. Annex Private Client. Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 1:04.
It's like being trapped in a cage. And I know, that sounds dramatic, but your breathing triangle problem has got you trapped. And once you're freed, you're going to be able to live the life that you're missing out on. Now, this can simply mean experiencing the true pleasure of breathing freely. It will mean better sleep and more energy. And the worry of this problem anymore affecting your life is going to be gone. Because in almost every case, when Advent has solved a breathing triangle problem, it's a one and done. Because we're not in the business of delivering Band-Aids. We want to fix your nasal breathing problem for good. We don't want you to be a lifelong patient. We want you to be our next success story.
Isn't it time you break free from that cage? Take the next step. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows. When you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
This is Jeff Johnson.
And I'm Jason Johnson.
And together we're part of Johnson & Sons Paving.
Get your parking lot ready now for spring and avoid paying for extra repairs later on.
We'll come out to your property and walk it with you.
Potholes, damaged asphalt, damaged concrete, standing water, you name it. We'll talk to you about your options and fix it.
Plan a budget, set up an overall schedule with Johnson & Sons Paving.
It's all about doing it right the first time. Call us today to schedule a walkthrough and free estimate.
JohnsonandSonsPaving.com.
Faith requires an object, a face, someone in whom we place our trust. This week on the Lutheran Hour, we meet a dedicated school security guard who inspires Michael Ziegler to believe in the school's mission and get involved. Hear how faith in Christ involves us ever more deeply in the institutions God created of church, marriage, family, and work. This week on the Lutheran Hour.
The Lutheran Hour, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on WTMJ.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. Clean out your locker day in Green Bay after Sunday's 22-10 loss to the Eagles in Philadelphia.
Anytime you aren't holding that Super Bowl trophy up and having that be the end of your season is tough and it's disappointing. There's a lot of things that we kind of just hurt ourselves in a lot of areas. So we'll be back. We'll find ways to get better and attack this offseason.
Packers quarterback Jordan Love there. With Aaron Rodgers' contract off the books, the Packers will have roughly $63 million in cap space. Wildcard weekend wraps up tonight in Arizona with the LA Rams taking on the Minnesota Vikings. ESPN, by the way, reporting that former Packers head coach Mike McCarthy is out as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. McCarthy is expected to be a candidate for vacancies in Chicago and New Orleans. Take a look at the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. It's been okay for the most part this afternoon on our roads. Not too many crashes out there. A handful of disabled vehicles, though. I'm kind of wondering if some of that has to do with the cold weather. Sometimes those cars don't want to go when it gets so cold like this. We do have one incident that just popped up minutes ago. 4194 South at the ramp from Rawson Avenue. Right shoulder is blocked due to an incident. The cameras are not showing that one, so I can't see it. But just a heads up there that 4194 South at the ramp from Rawson Avenue. Right shoulder is blocked. And here's the WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today becoming mostly sunny, breezy, very cold though. We have a high of 17. Wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour. Tonight, clear and cold, low of 4 by the lake. We're going to dip below 0 inland. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, breezy, very cold again. Our high tomorrow, 16 degrees. Wednesday, mostly sunny, high of 25. Starting Wednesday, we're just going to go up and up and up with our temperatures. Thursday, high of 39, partly cloudy. Friday, get this, high of 42, partly cloudy, and definitely mild. It's currently 12 degrees in Waukesha and 15 here in Milwaukee. I'm Jessica Ty. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 1:08.
65,498 square miles. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get to it. This is Spanning the State, and here are your hosts, Kristen Bry and Brian Noonan.
Good afternoon. Happy, very chilly Monday. It was not enjoyable taking the dog out this morning, but it's going to be even worse tomorrow, apparently. Brian, how are you doing?
I'm toasty warm. I'm working from home today because, quite frankly, 5 days in a row in the studio was just too much last week.
Too much.
But no, I have something that I have to do early this evening, and the commute would not have been conducive to me getting there without having some sort of stroke. So I know it's cold because I've let the dogs out, but by letting them out, I mean I stayed in the house and just opened the door and went, "Go, see ya."
Come back when you're ready.
Yeah, come back when you're done.
Speaking of things that you have to do, you did something pretty interesting yesterday that I think people might be interested to learn a little bit more about.
Oh, yeah. Yesterday, I had the privilege of once again emceeing the Chicago St. Patrick's Day Queen contest. So for 70 years, Plumbers Union 130 has sponsored the parade. They're the ones who dye the river green, and they are also responsible for naming the queen. So it's about a 4-hour process where it started with 60 young women, and then it winnowed down to the final 5, and the queen was chosen out of those 5. It's for women 18 to 27, I believe.
Okay.
And so you've got every year there's a few high school girls who try to get in at their senior year to kind of get the feeling of what it's going to be like, because they, quite frankly, just don't have the life experience that some of the other contestants do. Because I'll be honest.
Does it take a lot of life experience to be the queen?
You'd be. I know you're saying that with a little haterade in your voice.
No, I'm just so curious of what is the responsibilities? What are the qualifications? Like, I want to learn more about what this job entails.
Well, first of all of these women have a lot of education, a lot of volunteer experience, a lot of they've got great resumes. Like, to the point where you're like, wow, you're a nurse in oncology and in prenatal health, and oh, you've gotten your PhD in something else. It's those kind of young women. The thing that the judges have to winnow out, because you're right, there's a lot of similarities, but they want to find women who can think on their feet, women who can talk to the media, women who can be good in public, all of those things, because it's a year-long commitment where the queen and her court are making appearances everywhere. Not only, they don't just march in the St. Patrick's Day parade. This starts, well, today, all their responsibilities started, and they will be making all sorts of appearances. And then after the parade, until next March, they're doing all sorts of civic things. So I talked to one of the judges, and I said, so how do you decide, based on, everybody's pretty qualified on paper, what kind of questions do you ask? So, Kristen, let me ask you, if you were in this contest, I will ask you two of the questions that this judge said he uses to try to differentiate one contestant from the next.
Oh, now I'm nervous.
Yeah, see, now you're nervous. All right, here it is. You can bring back one historical figure, not a religious leader. It could be someone from your family. It could be someone from politics, somebody else, not a religious leader. So you can't have dinner with Jesus. For 15 minutes, who would that be?
I mean, my gut instinct says Eleanor Roosevelt.
Okay.
I'm sure there's maybe someone more interesting and original than that. That's the first name that popped into my head.
All right, why? Why Eleanor Roosevelt?
I just think she was a revolutionary for her time as far as what she was. There's probably also a lot more we didn't know about her because of the times, especially dealing with, the Depression, then World War II, a husband who they were basically hiding that he was paralyzed from polio. I think there's probably a lot more to her than we even know.
All right. So he would have thought that was a good answer, because you answered it pretty quickly. It wasn't obviously a question you had rehearsed a million times.
Okay.
Here's one he said that sometimes has made people cry, contestants cry. God forbid you die tonight. Who do you want to give your eulogy and why?
Oh, God. Oh. My husband.
Okay.
Just, yeah. Man, I think I've cried enough on this show. I don't want to. Don't make me answer this anymore.
No, and those are the reason he asked those questions is just that these young women have rehearsed every kind of response. They've told their story about being from large Irish families and where they've come from and blah 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 blah. So you need somebody with the intelligence to be able to come up with an answer quickly and back that up. You need somebody who doesn't panic under pressure because. I've had the Queen on before on my show, and I'm not asking regular questions.
Yeah.
So they've come on my show and not panicked back in the day. So that's the kind of woman they're looking for. Somebody who's going to be a good ambassador, not only for the St. Patrick's Day parade, but for the Plumbers Union and all that kind of stuff. So it was very exciting. And actually, the young woman who won was on the court last year. So over the years now, I've seen that these women come back and they try again. And even some of the ones who didn't make it from the first cut from 60 to 30, a couple of those women have come back this year or in the year before. I didn't understand what a big deal it was till I started actually doing the contest.
Well, now I know what a big deal it is, because I did not know, and it does sound like a very big deal. So that is very cool. Here's the last question: do they have to be 100% Irish?
No, because one of the finalists, her mom was Italian and her dad is Irish, and so you have to have some tie. But no, there's you've got one parent who's one nationality, one parent who's another nationality. It doesn't matter.
And we're all Irish on St. Patrick's Day, right?
Everybody is. Everybody is.
All right. Well, that was fascinating. I'm so excited now to know a lot more about that. All right. When
Now we know
back,
who you want to give your eulogy.
Yeah, that too. When we come back, this caught me off guard. I know that we've already addressed the Surgeon General's announcement that alcohol is the third leading cause of cancer. But on the heels of that, the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel published an article, or they looked into alcohol-related deaths in Wisconsin. And if you have not seen this yet, it is eye-opening. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that and just Wisconsin's identity with drinking when we come back after this on Spanning the State.
Sun, 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 fun, fun, fun. Sun, 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 every kind of boat under the sun.
That boat show music is back, and so is Wisconsin's largest boat show. Everything from family runabouts, ski and surf boats, fishing boats, luxury pontoons, and more Great Lakes cruisers and motor yachts. Get that boat and get that deal. Shop for skis, boards, and tubes at the Tubers Truckload Sale. Check MilwaukeeBoatShow.com. January 17 through 26, State Fair Park. Closed Monday and Tuesday.
Hey, it's 620 WTMJ's Kristen Bry, and if you're looking for a new dentist, you should check out Dr. James Michaels at Economowoc Dental Care. Dr. Michaels is committed to providing you with the highest level of care possible. He has prioritized patients' needs no matter how sensitive since he began practicing in 1985. If you're due for a dental visit, Economowoc Dental has an $89 new patient special, so you can get the care you need at an affordable price. In addition to an exam, you'll receive a gentle, professional cleaning that will leave your mouth feeling smooth and rejuvenated. Listen, we all have to go to the dentist, so do not put it off any longer. Check out Economowoc Dental Care at drmichaelsdentalcare.com or give them a call at 262-567-7224. Start 2025 on a good note by feeling confident about your smile and go see my dentist, Dr. James Michaels at Economowoc Dental Care.
Fingers come in different sizes,
It's one of the first things you learn as a jeweler,
and a ring can only be sized up or down a little bit.
which means it's a really good thing to know your ring size.
And it's an even better thing to know their ring size.
This is why we're announcing
The Ring Size Registry at Kessler's.
we're doing it as a public service. It's completely free.
Free. Isn't that a great price?
Here's how it works.
Just drop into any Kessler's Diamonds location and tell one of the owners that you'd like to know your ring size.
Kessler's is an employee-owned company, so whoever greets you at the door is an owner.
They'll determine your ring sizes and add them to our Ring Size Registry.
Then, when someone wants to know your ring size,
Because, maybe they want to surprise you.
all they have to do is call or stop into Kessler's.
Surprises can be fun, don't you think?
We're happy to do this for you, even if you don't buy a ring from us.
But after you take a look around, we think you probably will. Visit KesslersDiamonds.com for a location near you and register your ring sizes today.
It is Spanning the State. I'm Brian Noonan.
And I am Kristen Bry. And so, Brian, have you thought any more about the information? Was it 2 weeks ago? Was it at the very end of... Was it the 30th?
Yeah, it was right. It was. I think it was before your first official New Year Day,
Okay.
or right after your first official
So-
New Year Day.
But anyway, so it was big news, right? The Surgeon General,
Yes.
as one of his last moves as Surgeon General, announced what the medical community has known for a long time, but maybe there was kind of disparate information in public, maybe some studies that were funded by liquor lobbyists as far as what the impact of alcohol is on us, and that alcohol apparently is the third leading cause of cancer, which was
right
heavy news for people who enjoy drinking, I think. Brian, for you, because I feel like you were very skeptical when we talked about this the
Yes.
first time. Have you come around at all? Have you changed your mind? Are you still kind of like, eh?
No, after looking into it, as we discussed, I'm not having the amount of alcohol they said was necessary for it to prove more risky than others. They wanted, for men, I think it was 2 drinks a day every single day.
Okay.
And they said if you consume that much alcohol, the dangers are up there. Well, I don't consume that much alcohol. And, I probably consume a lot less than people think I consume. But no, I'm not really worried about. I'm not going to worry about it. If my drinking were a problem, then I would be looking at it for other reasons.
Yeah.
You know, does it affect my life, my work, whatever? You know, we all kind of know that too much alcohol is not good for us. We've known that for a long time. So no, I'm still. I'll listen to this. I go, okay, that's nice, but I'm not going to let it change my behaviors.
Got it. So then on the heels of that, last week, the Journal Sentinel published this. Wisconsin's alcohol-related deaths has more than tripled since 1999. And that does not include, that number that's tripled, does not include accidents, like actual accidents of people falling, snowmobile accidents, car accidents, and it also does not include cancer. And it's still, without those injuries and deaths that can happen because of alcohol, it still has tripled, which I found sobering, just pun intended.
I did as well. That number is very stark. And according to the CDC, they list the long and short-term conditions that they were taking into account for this as alcoholic liver diseases, mental and behavioral disorders, degeneration of the nervous system, pancreatitis, cardiomyopathy, and accidental and intentional poisoning from alcohol. Again, we go back, like those are all very serious, and we go back to, okay, when did this start? And I hate having to keep going back to the pandemic, but that's what they said was when things started to make a turn.
But it's also since 1999. And because I'm trying to tussle with this to try to write about it. Because like I've already said last week when we were talking about it, I'm not drinking this month and I feel really good. And I've had a dinner with a friend over the weekend who's also, because she has said that if she can stay off drinking, she also is then eligible for a drug that can help her stop smoking because she's starting to take control over her health. And so in these personal endeavors to try to curb your relationship with drinking, whether that's getting sober entirely or drinking a lot less, I feel like there's sometimes identity crises that come up with it that you don't.
Well, it's
true. Only through examining it that it pops up of the friendships that you have, how you spend your time. What am I? Who am I if I never have a drink again? And I feel like there's some kind of parallel with Wisconsin because literally our unofficial motto is out drinking every other state since 1848. Right? We have an entire lifestyle brand called Drink Wisconsinably. There, you Google Wisconsin drinking and go to the images tab, and the amount of memes and jokes that pop up that people embrace this drinking culture in Wisconsin as a badge of pride, that there's a bigger conversation around identity and culture, both on a personal level, but also as a state level, that how are we going to detach those things to curb these numbers?
Well, and it would be easy to chalk it up to an age thing because I know cutting back on drinking would have been much more difficult when I was in my 20s and early 30s. But that's not all it is because we're seeing it among Black Wisconsinites. The rate of alcohol-related deaths to them is catching up to white Wisconsinites who are more prone to binge drinking. But in the Latino Hispanic population has had the highest rates, some of the highest rates of alcohol deaths in the state. So it's not age, it's not race. It is an overarching thing here in this state. And, yes, it was from 1999. They said the biggest spikes started coming with behavior changes in 2020 when the pandemic came, especially with women.
Yeah.
Women's alcohol use has gone way, way up.
And so
you're just tired of our stuff. Is that it? You were done putting up with it?
Well, no, because I feel like it's marketed. And this is the biggest argument I've heard as far as the idea between decriminalizing something and legalizing something and the gap between those two things, especially when we talk about I think, again, I saw a headline this today as far as what is Wisconsin going to do with marijuana. And the gap between decriminalizing something so you don't get in trouble for having it or, imbibing or whatever, versus legalizing something, whether it's a drug or obviously alcohol. Alcohol is our best example, though, but even in states that have now legalized recreational marijuana, is the ability for capitalism to do what capitalism is going to do. And when it's legal, to market you, to bombard you with this sexiness of drinking, this mom juice, this is the best way to unwind, like this cult, and it's through marketing, it's through advertising, it's through branding that you are constantly under the guise of, oh, this is acceptable. This is this is just, and I feel like women in the last handful of years started getting targeted more pointedly for drinking, especially like wine.
I agree with that. Women have become, and that you see it everywhere. I don't know why I see it so much on my algorithms about mommy time and women drinking, but I do. So do we have to then, if that's part of the problem, which it very well could be, do we have to take the same route we took with cigarettes and ban that sort of advertising? Cigarettes still legal. Cigarettes, they're the number 1 or 2 cause of cancer. Okay, we made a decision as a country. We know this is bad for you. We're not going to make cigarettes and tobacco use illegal, but we're not going to advertise it. We're not going to use Joe Camel to sell it to kids. We're not going to make it look so cool to young moms, to anybody else to drink.
I mean, that is a tall order, but
right.
Maybe should be on the table. All right. Got to cut this short. We're going to go to bottom of the hour news, and when we come back, a conversation about Waukesha County and their budget woes with Professor Phil Rocco. So stay with us on Spanning the State.
When we're out in your town, come say hi to us as we broadcast live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
Anytime you hear us when we're out on the road, you can find us live from our brand new mobile studio.
Whether it be Summerfest, EAA, Opening Day, Air and Water Show,
Wherever we may be, you can see us on the radio, live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
we are Wisconsin's radio station.
Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
WTMJ.
So how do you underpromise and still get the job? We believe in our hearts we're going to do great work for you. We're just really careful about making unrealistic promises. At Semper Fi, we refuse to set the bar higher than we can jump. But be assured, that's the goal. To do all we can to jump as high as possible to try to exceed your expectations. We're looking to break records. That's how you win over customers, get really great referrals, and build a great business. When you're making a decision to hire an exterior remodeling company, character, integrity, and the feeling that the people you're about to hire are truly eager to show you how good they are should stand at the top of your list. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
It is Spanning the State. I'm Brian Noonan.
And I am Kristen Bry. And just to round out our conversation around drinking, which I'm sure is an ongoing conversation, but I saw before our show started on the text line, on the Citing Unlimited WTMJ talking text line from the 608, a reminder that bitters has high alcohol content, around 40%. And I don't know what the context that they were talking about it in, but I just thought I'd quickly tell this story. At one point, my brother, who is a very confident person, was not drinking, and his go-to drink is to do club soda with a splash of bitters.
Oh.
And like a lime, which honestly, I mean, a splash of bitters, even at 40%, is really not much. And it does, I mean, I've had it. It's what I'm largely doing right now, knowing that there is alcohol in it. But I don't, like we've talked about before, I'm not really a betting person. And I'm at dinner with my brother, and I was like, there's alcohol in bitters, right? And this very overconfident man was like, absolutely not. Because he was so convinced that he had had abstained from alcohol at this point for like 6 or 8 weeks or something like that. And you could not tell him any differently. And he was just, bet me literally $100. Bet me and Mike $100 that there was no alcohol in bitters. And we shook on it and then immediately pulled out our phones and Googled. and he was distraught. He was so upset because not only had he just lost $200, but he also, all his ideas that he hadn't had a sip of alcohol for weeks was gone out the window. So, all right, stay with us. ABC News and local headlines are next.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Efforts to finalize a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal between Israel and Hamas appear to be closer than ever. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan signaled both the Biden administration and President-elect Trump's transition teams are putting on a united front in negotiations.
Sullivan said they're, quote, on the brink of reaching a deal after an aggressive push in recent weeks.
There's a couple of reasons for why this is happening, the biggest one of which is that Israel has achieved its substantial military objectives in Gaza.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Inauguration day now 1 week out. President-elect Trump will be sworn into office amid tight security due to what authorities call a heightened threat environment. Fire crews in Los Angeles County racing to contain major wildfires and douse hotspots with hurricane-force winds back in the mix starting tonight. The Eaton and Palisades fires are blamed for at least 24 deaths. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 1:31. I'm Jessica Ty. A man from Milwaukee shot by police is now accused of child sex crimes. 19-year-old Emilio Arner Ortiz is accused of chatting online with a 13-year-old boy from Illinois and bringing him here to Milwaukee for sex. Police located Arner Ortiz last week inside his residence on the city's south side. When officers made contact, a struggle ensued and an officer shot him. Arner Ortiz could face up to 126 years in prison if convicted on all the charges. One person is dead after a crash between a semi and a snowplow. A plow truck with the Rock County Highway Department was clearing snow Friday on I-39 near Beloit when a semi traveling in the left lane hit the plow and jackknifed. The driver of the semi, a 59-year-old man from Milwaukee, died. The driver of the plow truck was not hurt. Milwaukee Film has a new executive director. The organization says Susan Santha Kearns will assume the role on February 3rd. Kearns served as Milwaukee Film's education director from 2010 to 2013 and co-founded the Chicago Feminist Film Festival. Interim executive director Ann Reed will retire from the role after a transitional overlap. Time for news about your money. Let's take a look at the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. It is still a mixed bag on Wall Street. The Dow is up significantly, 293 points to 42,231. S&P 500 and NASDAQ are down, however. S&P 500 is down a little more than 2 points to 5,824. NASDAQ is down more than 135 points to 19,026. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Let's get you an update on the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. It's been an okay day as far as any crashes. We haven't seen any. A lot of disabled vehicles on the system, though. In our immediate area, we're looking good. In fact, you've got to go to Green Bay, Oshkosh, Madison, and Janesville to find disabled vehicles, but they're definitely out there. It's kind of one of those Mondays, especially after the Packers loss. It's hard to get going, especially in the cold. Some of the cars are feeling that today. And here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast today. Some of you are seeing some sun right now. That helps because it is cold out there. We have a high of 17, wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour. Tonight, clear and cold. Will dip down to 4 degrees by the lake, below 0 inland. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, breezy, very cold again, a high of 16. Wednesday, mostly sunny, and our temperatures are going to go up starting on Sunday. That will feel nice. High of 25 on Wednesday, then Thursday, a high of 39, partly cloudy. Friday, we're going to go up to 42 degrees, partly cloudy and mild. Definitely a swing in the temps. It is currently 16 degrees in Racine, 12 degrees in Waukesha, and 16 here in downtown Milwaukee. I'm Jessica Ty. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 1:34.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
We've saved our clients over $19 million in real estate commission. I say this because that's a pretty big number. But at Century 21 Benefit Realty, it's really not about being a top volume agency. Over here, it's more about you. And at 1.9% commission and no more than $19,000 commission, for the listing side of your sale, no matter what size property you're selling, you will save substantially. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. As you probably know, when you buy one dinner, you get a second dinner free every night at the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club. That's incredible. Well, through January 15th, when you buy a $100 gift card, you get a $20 gift card free. Buy $250, get $50 free. Buy $500 in gift cards, get $125 in free gift cards. Incredible bargains. Business owners, managers, Fox and Hound's gift cards make perfect year-round gifts because everyone loves a free dinner. When you buy one dinner, you get one free. That offer is like when you buy one gift card, getting a second gift card for free. Your company will save hundreds of dollars and your employees will truly appreciate you. It's a great place. Festive, fun, delicious food. If you didn't have your company party in December, have it in January at the Fox and Hounds. Half of your employee dinners are free. The Fox and Hounds, just off Highway 167 near Holy Hill. Order your free gift cards at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com. It's the famous Fox and Hounds.
Welcome back to
State. I'm Brian Noonan.
And I am Kristen Bride. Now, as we all remember, back in 2023, Act 12, which provided every city, village, and town in the state with a boost in state shared revenue, while also ensuring the future shared revenue payments would change based on state sales tax collections, finally happened. And yet, a year and a half-ish later, there's still cities and villages and towns and counties that are facing unprecedented deficits, including Waukesha County, where they have a $5 million shortfall for their budget. And last fall, you might remember that they floated the idea of increasing sales tax by 0.5%, which I think as of right now, because it is now January, they are the only one of two counties that has not taken advantage of that ability to increase their sales tax. But that proposal was met with swift pushback from the business community in Waukesha. So what now? Philip Rocco, associate professor of political science at Marquette University, wrote about this exact conundrum in a piece called Prisoner of the State. And he is here to talk a little bit about it because I thought it was very interesting as far as looking at this relationship between local governments and the state. Because in the beginning of the piece, you address this juxtaposition as far as local, whether we're talking about municipalities or the county, is responsible for providing certain services. However, they are also at the mercy of the state deciding how spend, like what the revenue is, how they can spend it. And so I guess my first question as someone who studies this, are we unique in this in Wisconsin, or what are the other alternatives to even have this like how local and state governments could be set up?
So I like to think about this as think of a service that you care about, that you use every day, that you take for granted, your sewage, your trash, the police, fire, EMS. Chances are it is funded by your local government in one way, shape, or form. Your municipality, your county funds that. But you would think, and it's not the case, that local governments are masters of their own fiscal fate. In other words, they spend and they tax in order to finance the spending. In reality, state governments are like the parent government of local government. So they can set the rules. They can say what you can tax, how much you can tax, what tax sources you have available to you, and also they can set mandates on what you have to spend on. And that's particularly true for counties, which are really just, in addition to being a local unit of government, they also are like the provider of a lot of state services, courts, health and human services. A lot of that runs through the county. So go ahead.
Oh, no, is that why there's such a big gap then, Phil? Because the parents are not taking care of us, because it looked like the parents were going to take care of us with Act 12, but everybody's still struggling.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess one way of thinking about it, and this maybe gets to Kristen's question about like, are we unique in this? So states can have any number of different fiscal relationships with local governments. So in other words, there are a lot of states that give local governments a lot of different sources. In Ohio, there are some municipalities that can tax income as well to sort of diversify their revenue mix. The way that Wisconsin is unique is that in Wisconsin, local governments are, in a way that is more extreme than most places in the country, heavily reliant on the property tax as their main source of taxation. Now, all the way back in 1911, the Wisconsin state legislature sort of recognized this when it created the country's first progressive income tax. And what it did was say, look, in exchange for preventing you, local governments, from taxing income, we're going to give you back a share of the revenue that you would have received were we to allow you to do that sort of thing. And when the state adopted sales taxes, it sort of did, rolled that into the deal as well. And the formula is a lot different than they used back in the early 20th century, but the basic idea is the same. It's like a big trade-off. In exchange for preventing you from taxing on certain things, we're going to give you back that share of money. So it's like it's a bargain or a deal you can see between like local governments and the states. And the problem, though, is it's not as if somewhere in the state constitution there's a rule that says, local governments, you are entitled by law to a certain like adequate minimum level of funding. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is, and this has happened multiple times in Wisconsin history, is essentially the state does something that's a lot like sort of rating the fund. So in other words, they just don't update it in
rating, like RAID.
RAID,
not like a grade rating.
Right. Yeah. So they stop providing the same amount of aid. They just sort of let the program drift, and it doesn't adjust for inflation, or they actually cut the funds and divert the funds to other things. And that's sort of what happened since the early 2000s. And that's kind of why Act 12 was, created, because there was this huge kind of drift and then cuts to the program, which meant that for a number of cities around the state and counties, they were kind of on the brink of a fiscal collapse. Now, the question, though, and so Act 12 for local governments around the state was a big deal.
It was a big deal, right? Like this, we shouldn't say that this wasn't a necessary move.
It was a big deal.
It's seeming to still fall short.
Well, right, and that's the thing. When you see a piece of legislation passed and there's a big dollar figure attached to it, and it looks impressive because it's a big dollar figure, right? $274 million, which is not to say that's nothing. But the question you have to ask is, once you start thinking about the budget needs that local governments have and what they lost since the early 2000s, what does $274 million really begin to look like? And, indeed, Evers' counterproposal back in 2023, Governor Tony Evers' counterproposal was about twice the size of that. And if you were to go back and actually calculate what local governments had lost since the early 2000s, it was significantly more even than Evers' proposal. So as a matter of adequacy, whether or not this was like enough to kind of meet local governments' needs, I think we're beginning to see the rubber of that meet the road, because even with that additional aid, without changing a lot of other things about our fiscal structure, right? Local governments can adopt sort of small sales taxes, but without any other changes, local governments are going to hit the skids again, not necessarily because of anything they're doing, but because of this arrangement with the state is still underfunded relative to what it might be.
So then what was interesting about Waukesha County specifically that you wanted to dig in and write about it?
Yeah, so Waukesha County is interesting for a couple reasons. One, I think Waukesha County Executive Paul Farrow really had been among Republicans critical of a bill that Republicans in the state legislature authored. Way back when Act 12 was being passed, he went to Madison and said, look, this is not an adequate amount of aid for Waukesha County. and it made some sort of critiques of the bill. So he was sort of maybe a kind of like lone voice and saying in his party and saying like this is not adequate. And the other thing is like Waukesha County has always sort of prided itself on being like the alternative to what Republicans criticize Milwaukee County for, as being responsible, low tax, low spending, right? The kind of the model unit of government. And compared to all other counties in the state, it gets one of the lowest boosts in under Act 12. It has a very low level of per capita aid from the state, and unsurprisingly, like other counties, it had a fiscal shortfall. So it's sort of, I think the reason that it's interesting is the reason that Republicans typically suggest that local governments fall on hard times is because they are fiscally, profligate or irresponsible. And the interesting thing is, even in Waukesha County, which is sort of like this model Republican county in a lot of ways, it too found itself with an inadequate level of aid, not necessarily because of anything it did or didn't do, but largely because of the nature of the formula, which kind of set a ceiling on how much funding Republicans wanted to give to counties, and then prorated all of the funding that counties received under that ceiling.
All right, let's take a quick break because I have a couple more questions, but we're running up against the clock. We're talking to Phil Rocco, who is an associate professor of political science at Marquette, about his piece, Prisoner of the State. We'll be right back.
Hi, folks. This is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. With colder weather in the forecast and no festivals to attend, our showroom is a year-round festival the whole family will enjoy. Read our reviews. Our store has it all, including the finest lighting and ceiling fans available, such as Visual Comfort, Hubbardton, Tech, and hundreds more at unbeatable prices. I guarantee it. If it's repairs or lampshades you need, we have all that too. There's also unique sports and historical items, neon lights, slot machines, and much more for sale. You'll find fun for the kids and our famous free popcorn. BBC is open Monday through Saturday and located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue near Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Elizabeth and John bought their starter home 8 years ago, BC, as in before children. Now, with 2 elementary school-age kids, they wanted to make a move to the suburbs for a bigger home with more yard. But they didn't know if or how they could buy their next home without selling their current one. Fortunately, a friend who was a multi-time AccuNet client connected them with us, and we soon determined they could, in fact, afford to buy without selling first, which was a big relief to them and their real estate agent. Armed with an AccuNet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval, it still took several weeks to find the right home for the next chapter in their life. But I'm happy to report that Elizabeth, John, and their boys opened their presents on Christmas morning in their new home after closing just a few days before. Whether you're buying your first home or your next home, go with the pros who have all the tools and know-how to make your home buying experience as smooth and successful as humanly possible. Get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Welcome back to Spanning the State. I am Kristen Bry.
I'm Brian Noonan. We're talking to Phil Rocco. Phil, you had said that Waukesha County's problems were not anything that they did, and that's the case for a lot of communities, a lot of municipalities. So where do we go? What can change these? What options do we have?
Yeah, well, in Waukesha County, one thing that did happen was there was some pushback to passing a sales tax, and so there is, whatever flexibility they had, there was a huge pushback against them using it. So now the big issue is the state actually does have a really important responsibility in helping to make sure that local governments work. And so the question is that going to be reflected in the budget process, right? Are we going to see some additions to shared revenue? It seems likely that whatever we do see come out of the governor's office on that is going to be stripped out in the Joint Finance Committee by Republicans, who seem really unwilling to throw in some additional aid to this proposal. There's already been some suggestions that that's going to happen. But, that could change, right? Nothing is sort of written in stone. The budget process is a process, and constituents have something to say, right? The problem is typically when you're thinking about a state budget process, people don't go to the state to necessarily complain about what's going on in their city or municipality. But in reality, because the state has such an important role to play in local budgets, it is something where I do think, constituents could make a difference by saying, look, this is an important part of what the state does.
Do you think that because Paul Farrow, longstanding, he was the chair of the Wisconsin Republican Party for a while, right? Like a longstanding conservative. Do you think this carries any weight as far as specifically what's happening in Waukesha as an example of the shortcomings of Act 12?
I mean, it's hard to say, right? I think you would think that if it did, he would have been more successful at wringing a slightly better fiscal arrangement for Waukesha County out of Act 12 in the first place. But what it seems to me to be the case, from at least looking at Act 12, is that there's a real disconnect, I think, even from between Republican elected officials at the local level and those in the state.
So like conservatives who are nonpartisan roles versus Republicans, capital R, in the state.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a disconnect, and it is, I think, reflected in the fiscal policies that the state has adopted really for the last 20 or 30 years.
All right. Well, very interesting stuff. Yet another thing to look out for as we enter this budget year and budget process. Phil Rocco, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good to be with you. Thanks.
He is a political science professor at Marquette University. You can check him out. He regularly writes for the Recombobulation Area. But stay with us on Spanning the State.
Throughout history, some people have been born into greatness because of their name or family. Others gained greatness because of their actions. On Wisconsin's Morning News, we celebrate everyday heroes, the John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they woke up one morning they'd be saving a life. Everyday Heroes, Thursday at 6:40 on Wisconsin's Morning News. Presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
You wake up feeling like you just boxed 12 rounds. Some wake up sweating with sore jaws, headaches, and a lot of our patients complain of brain fog. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and these signs, often joined with snoring, are sleep apnea symptoms. And if this sounds like you may have been in a struggle last night between you and this serious disorder. Many people aren't willing to fight back. But the fact is, you can't go through these nightly struggles without ramifications that each night chip away at your life's expiration date. I get it. You don't want to wear a CPAP mask. You may find out you don't need one. We have every effective sleep apnea solution available. And believe me, the mask is the last resort.
It's time to take action to stop your sleep struggle. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Siding Unlimited, named the best window installers, not just here, but in the whole USA. Get the best. Siding Unlimited, 4-time winner as America's best window installer. For windows, you call Siding Unlimited first and directly. SidingUnlimited.com.
I'm Tony Drake from Drake & Associates. Should I delay my Social Security benefits, or should I start taking them right away? The truth is, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Your decision can impact your income for the rest of your retirement. At Drake & Associates, we help you create a strategy to maximize your benefits so you can make the most of what you've earned. Social Security is just one stop on your retirement-ready roadmap. Take the first step today. Text SS to 414-897-9522 to claim your free retirement toolkit and get a copy of my book, Get Retirement Ready. Don't leave money on the table. Text SS to 414-897-9522.
Drake & Associates is an independent investment advisory firm that offers different investment vehicles. All insurance products are backed by the issuing insurance company. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only.
Deep freeze is here. It's not too late for you to get hot, hot, hot. Fox World Travel has your ticket to paradise with exclusive deals you won't find anywhere else. Save up to $150 on Mexico and Caribbean vacations with Apple Vacations, or get Fox exclusive cruise perks like onboard credits and more with Celebrity Cruises, Holland America, or Princess. Don't miss this limited time to book now and save only at Fox World Travel. Book online or call 866-GO-FOX-GO and mention code radio.
Okay, it's Spanning the State. I'm Brian Noonan.
And I am Kristen Bry. And we got a couple of minutes. Brian, what's on tap for you for this week?
Meaning?
I don't know. As far as
well, listen. You know, I love to plug the podcast.
Yeah, plug the podcast.
Tonight we are interviewing Guinness. We are going to the only it's been 2 years since Guinness opened the Open Gate Brewery in Chicago, and we've been trying to get their brewers on. And so tonight we're going to do that interview, which will come out in a few weeks.
That's very exciting.
It is very exciting.
Would you ask them for me as far as how much training it takes to pour a perfect Guinness?
Well, having been at the Open Gate Brewery in Dublin and doing the perfect pour, it does not take long to learn to make the.
Oh, okay.
It's the tilting of the glass, where it stops. I have my certificate if you need me to, sure. Oh yeah, not that I fall victim to tourist trappy stuff, but I did. And then I practiced it at a local pub in Milford where I poured a couple after hours to see if I could really do it. And yes, I can pour the perfect pint, so we'll be trying to do that tonight too.
Put that on your resume, Brian Noonan. All right, well, when we come back from the top of the hour news, we will spin around the state on Spanning the State.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Winning in the NFL comes down to the basics, blocking and tackling. In retirement, the certainty of protection and income are the keys to success. And as a former NFL player myself, I have experience with both. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons. Having played on winning teams with the Steelers and Falcons, studying game films helped me mentally prepare for the challenges ahead. Now I star in a new Hollywood documentary called The Retirement Deception to help you visualize and prepare for your fourth quarter of life. You see, you don't retire on your nest egg, but rather the income it can produce. This film shows you exactly how to protect your retirement from stock market drops and produce more income than you thought possible. And it's free for you to view. Call 844-763-2837 right now for your free streaming code to watch The Retirement Deception. Don't risk your retirement savings at the goal line. You don't need to be risky to have a winning strategy. Call today to speak with an all-pro retirement specialist to get your free streaming code to watch The Retirement Deception. Call today, 844-763-2837. That's 844-763-2837. MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Push one for the money, two for the show, three to get ready now. Go, cat, go.
Elvis is back in the building at the Fireside Theater in Fort Atkinson, and you've never seen anything like it.
Since my baby left me, I found a new place to dwell.
Back in the Building features a rotating cast of the finest award-winning Elvis tribute artists and Anne Margaret, all backed by an incredible live band and ensemble. Experience the eras of Elvis in this legendary feel-good show. From the 50s to the movies, the 60s comeback to the rockin' 70s. It's all here.
Oh, see right up.
Every ticket to the Fireside includes a superb dinner prepared by award-winning chefs and a chance to visit their spectacular gift shops. Hurry, tickets are going fast. Call 920-563-9505 or visit firesidetheater.com. Elvis back in the building, live on stage, January 9th through February 23rd. Only at the Fireside Theater.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Eric Bilstead. As we ring in 2025, are you heading into the new year with the same old joint pain? It's time to make a resolution, to get moving again. No more achy joints for your knees, your hips, shoulders, or your back. You're going to call QC Kinetics in 2025, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine and joint preservation. Got locations in Greenfield and Mequon under the leadership of Medical Director Dr. Ashley Caravelli. Yes, you can revitalize your joints with advanced orthobiologic treatments at QC Kinetics. No steroids, no drugs, no surgery. This is the future of medicine using an array of natural solutions. So many of your neighbors here in Milwaukee are living life again without the constant pain in their joints. Here's what you do. Resolve to get lasting relief in 2025. Call QC Kinetics today, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today. Happy New Year.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Breaking news as it happens. Stay up to date with your trusted and relevant source in news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 2:01, it's currently 14 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Julia Fellow. Tonight, clear and cold. By the lake, it's 4. Inland, it's 1 below 0. Wind chills could feel like it's 20 below 0. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, breezy, very cold. Wind chills again, 20 below 0. The actual high will be 16 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, fire investigators continue to probe the cause of multiple wildfires in LA County. No possibilities are being ruled out.
We're looking at everything.
L.A. County Sheriff Robert Luna says they haven't ruled out arson as a cause of the wildfires. Another possibility is a small fireworks blaze in Pacific Palisades on New Year's Day may have reignited. Meanwhile, the Eaton fire may have been sparked by transmission towers. L.A. Fire Chief Kristen Crowley promised a multi-agency task force will find the cause and origin of all of the fires.
To make sure the community knows exactly where and how and when all of this occurred.
Matt Bigler for CBS News, Los Angeles.
A Milwaukee man shot by police faces child sex crime charges.
Prosecutors say 19-year-old Emilio Arner Ortiz had been chatting online with a 13-year-old boy from Illinois for 3 years. He recently drove to Illinois to pick up the boy in the middle of the night and returned to Milwaukee to have sex with him. When police officers responded to his residence last week Monday, Arner Ortiz pulled out a gun. A struggle began, and an officer then shot him in the abdomen. Arner Ortiz faces charges of second-degree sexual assault of a child abduction, child enticement, using a computer to facilitate a child sex crime, and pointing a firearm at law enforcement. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Arner Ortiz could face up to 126 years behind bars if convicted. A school referendum could be on the ballot in Racine in April.
The Racine Unified School District Board will hold a special meeting this evening to consider adding a 5-year, $190 million operational referendum to their ballot. Money from an operational referendum would go towards school safety and high school academy offerings, among other things. If it fails, the superintendent says there would be programming and staff cuts. The Racine Journal-Times says if approved, the referendum would add about $35 in taxes per $100,000 of assessed property value. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 280, S&P 500 down 3, NASDAQ is down 132. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time approaching 2:04.
Hey, it's 620 WTMJ's Kristen Bry, and if you're looking for a new dentist, you should check out Dr. James Michaels at Economowalk Dental Care. Dr. Michaels is committed to providing you with the highest level of care possible. He has prioritized patients' needs no matter how sensitive since he began practicing in 1985. If you're due for a dental visit, Economowalk Dental has an $89 new patient special, so you can get the care that you need at an affordable price. In addition to an exam, you'll receive a gentle, professional cleaning that will leave your mouth feeling smooth and rejuvenated. We all have to go to the dentist, so do not put it off any longer. Check out Economowalk Dental Care at drmichaelsdentalcare.com or give them a call at 262-567-7224. That's 262-567-7224. Start 2025 on a good note by feeling confident about your smile and go see my dentist, Dr. James Michaels at Economowalk Dental Care.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our clients' portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All sports desk. Clean out your locker day at Green Bay after Sunday's loss to the Eagles in Philly.
Anytime you aren't holding that Super Bowl trophy up and having that be the end of your season is tough and it's disappointing. There's a lot of things that we kind of just hurt ourselves in a lot of areas. So we'll be back. We'll find ways to get better and attack this offseason.
That was Packers quarterback Jordan Love. With Aaron Rodgers' contract off the books, Packers will have roughly $63 million in cap space. And ESPN is reporting that former Packers head coach Mike McCarthy is out as head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. McCarthy expected to be a candidate for vacancies in Chicago and New Orleans. Let's take a look at your roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. There's a crash that just took place. Let's take a look here. On the ramp from Highway 145 and Fond du Lac Avenue, the left shoulder is blocked because of a crash at this time. Everything else looks good and it's sunny out.
I'm Brett Matchke, and you're due for service.
Richlawns Tire and Service Centers. 5 locations and all easy to find. Visit richlawns.com when you're due for service.
New Year's resolution? Finally do something about that old garage door?
Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, clear and cold. At the lake, it's going to be 4 degrees. Inland, 1 below 0. Wind chills could feel like it's 20 below 0. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, breezy, really cold. Wind chills 20 below 0 again tomorrow. The high will be 16. Wednesday, sunny, a high of 25. Thursday, warmer, a high of 39. Friday, mild, a high of 42 degrees. In Madison, it's 13 degrees. In Green Bay, it's 9 degrees. In Waukesha, it's 14 degrees. Outdoor living and limited news time, 2:07.
It's time to take a spin around Wisconsin and find stories you might have missed. Here's Spinning the State on Spanning the State with Kristen Bry and Brian Noonan.
It's a new week. That means more news stories around Wisconsin. If you miss any of the details of any of the things we talk about on Spinning the State, you can just text SPIN to 855-616-1620. All right, we've had a couple days away. Let's go to the wheel and spin it.
Wausau.
All right, Wausau. In November, a homeless man died in Marathon Park in Wausau. That has reignited calls for more permanent solutions to the homelessness problems in Wausau. Two sides are arguing the approach the city should take to battle homelessness. The Wausau City Council recently approved funding for 2 officers dedicated to addressing homelessness, a move Wausau Police Chief Matt Barnes said is already yielding results. Barnes told WPR that the officers work both to enforce city ordinances and to connect individuals with resources aimed at breaking the cycle of homelessness. That approach isn't sitting well with critics like the Marathon County Community Outreach Task Force, who have accused the city of criminalizing homelessness, citing decisions like removing encampments and disallowing tents in parks. As part of a larger solution, Barnes is optimistic about the ongoing work of a joint task force involving Marathon County and the city of Wausau. It involves different nonprofits and elected officials from both boards. The task force is taking a look at capacity issues. Barnes went on to say, quote, "The question to be asked is what is necessary to move that needle here to strive for a functional zero where people are leaving homelessness at the same time, at the same rate people are entering homelessness in our community and need resources. Maybe the question is who should pay for it, and is that the role of the government or a role of non-profits?" So, not unique in trying to solve for that problem across Wisconsin right now.
No, and if, I understand people in Wausau or any other county, they may be sympathetic to the homelessness problem and empathetic to the people who are going through it, but they also want their public spaces kept free of encampments, things like that. So it is a conversation that's going to go on for quite some time. Okay, let's spin it again.
Port Washington.
Oh boy, there have been a lot of unanswered questions in Port Washington surrounding a potential development deal that could have a big effect on the town's landscape. Since May of last year, residents have been trying to get information on the deal. Well, now they have some. A development company called Cloverleaf Infrastructure is pursuing plans for a data center on about 2,000 acres of land within the town that may soon be annexed by the city of Port Washington. That, according to information provided at a January 7th Common Council work session and reported by the Journal Sentinel. The land in question stretches from the city's northern border up to Dixie Road and spans east of the Ozaukee Interturban Trail and west of I-43. The new information offers residents some inkling toward the path forward. More questions than answers do remain, though, including questions about the potential project's environmental and community impact. At the meeting, residents also heard from the city's special counsel for the project, specifically tasked with protecting the interest of the city and its taxpayers as they explore this proposal. A lot more than Alan Edmonds going on in Port Washington.
Yeah, data center up there, data center down in, not Pleasant Prairie, Kenosha area. But yeah, a lot of what to do with all that data.
So much data.
All right, let's spin it one more time. Madison. All right, Licorice fans, this is for you. Climb into your AMC Pacer, crank up Bohemian Rhapsody, and get ready to enjoy a tasty road treat. Candy Phelps is here, attempting to bring back a bit of pop culture nostalgia from the 1990s. Phelps, a Madison entrepreneur, has come out with the, quote, "Party on licorice dispenser." The device, which she has attached via magnets to the sunroof inside of her SUV, is inspired by a similar contraption that had a bit role in both of the Wayne's World movie, starring Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. According to the reporting from the Wisconsin State Journal, the dispenser is a plastic bubble that holds coiled up ropes of red licorice and is equipped with a dull plastic blade attached to a lever that allows licorice to be cut into desired lengths. Phelps said, quote, "As soon as I saw the movie, I said, I want one of those. Then I spent the next 10 years looking into Spencer Gifts or whatever, like them all. She founded Motor Mouth Innovations and sells the dispensers for $44. Each dispenser comes with 3 34-inch strands of super rope red licorice manufactured by the American Licorice Company. Phelps has no illusions about making millions of dollars with her business, but knows the dispensers will strike a chord. Party on.
I would like one of those in the car.
There you go, $44. You could do it.
I don't even like licorice that much, but I think it would be fun just to have it in there.
Just the homage.
Hey, you want to ride? Piece of licorice?
Milwaukee.
Yes, Milwaukee. That's it. If you missed anything, and now if you're thinking to yourself, man, I got to get one of those licorice dispensers, then text SPIN to 855-616-1620. We'll give you a link to Spinning the State. You can also always listen to Spinning the State and the rest of the show on our podcast, and the podcasts are wherever you get your podcasts. See how easy we make it for you? When we come back, what does it look like for a water park to get an $85 million expansion. That's a lot of water and a lot of tubes. We'll talk about that and more after this. It's spanning the state.
New Year's resolution, finally do something about that old garage door. Vince Vitrano for Lifetime Door Company. Time to give the biggest door to your home the look, style, and function it demands. Our holiday guests, first thing they say when they walk in, wow, that new garage door looks really nice. Lifetime also installed a new opener. So quiet, LED lights, camera equipped. You can even run it from an app on your phone. To help fit your budget, through January, tell them Vinny sent you. They'll knock 5% off the total purchase on all service and installation. Get started at lifetimedoor.net.
Hey, business owners, are you looking to sell your business? I'm sure you have plenty of questions. WTMJ's John Mercure here. Join me for our latest Annex Wealth Management webinar. I'll be joined by Brandon Lehman and Brian Lamborn from Annex Wealth Management as we answer your questions. Who should you consult? And of course, when is the best time for you to sell your business? Sign up for this free webinar on Wednesday, January 29th. Text WEB to 855-616-1620 to sign up for the free webinar. Only here on WTMJ.
We've seen that sleep apnea bully stop breathing more than 100 times an hour. But this problem is solvable, and Advent has simple solutions that have been proven to be extremely effective.
Hey, if you're able, please help people affected by the California wildfires in 2025. You can donate at redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover. That's a Good Karma Brands. We're trying to do our part as far as telling people where they can donate goods. I know I am trying to help my friends as much as I can. But welcome back to Spanning the State. I am Kristen Bry.
I am Brian Noonan. If you can help, that would be great. There's no real end in sight for those fires, so this is not a story that's going away anytime soon, unfortunately, as we've been following, and it gets more heartbreaking by the day because more areas are affected, more winds. Today I saw the town I used to live in was getting wind gusts over 40 miles an hour, and they're just north of one of the newer fires, so it's help if you can. That's all. We'll just do that. And then maybe you'll want to just forget all of life's problems and go somewhere relaxing. And I'll be honest, I don't know how relaxing a water park is.
I was going to ask that.
Hectic.
So as I saw this headline, I was like, I wonder if Brian likes water parks. And I have my guess is it's too many people for you.
Yeah, I like
it's
a pool.
pretty crowded.
It doesn't seem like if I was the father of a young child, like you and Mike are going to be in this position now for a while where Frankie is young for, the next 12, 14 years.
Yeah.
These are the kind of places that you take young children, where there is a lot of noise and a lot of commotion and a lot of things. I like to go and sit in a pool and relax or swim in the ocean. A water park, I know how wildly popular they are, and we did go to a few when Molly was little, but it was mostly when we would go to Six Flags or something. We would go to the water park there. We never stayed at someplace like the Kalahari or the other big water park resorts where your hotel is there and everything's there. So,
well,
are you a water parker?
It's funny that you say. So it's like growing up, it was always so fun to go to Noah's Ark, right? Like every year, it felt like there was one new slide that was exciting. There was, I remember, I think our 7th grade field trip, like end of year field trip, was to the Dells, and that was a big deal. And our swim team once a year in the summer would go up there. I have had less desire to go to the Dells since moving back to Wisconsin as far as what are we going to do this weekend? Let's go to the Dells. Let's go to Noah's Ark. Now, we have gone once. I forgot if we went to Kalahari or the Wilderness with my sisters-in-law and brother-in-law and our niece, who I think at the time was 5 or 6. And it was specifically for exactly the reason you said. Let's do something that's fun for Maddie. And I think we went to an escape room while we were up in the Dells. And it was a fun weekend. But I agree with you as far as it's a lot of people. Like
it is a lot.
Like once you get into some of these resorts, because that's the thing. It's not like you're just there for hotel and then you're going out into to do other things in and around the Dells. You're there to be there and enjoy the water park. And it's a lot of children, and it's a lot of bodies in the whirlpool. And so, good thing for the Kalahari is that they are doing an expansion.
Yes, and they're doing this just months after they finished a room expansion. So they added a bunch of more rooms, which means more people. Well, more people need more room at the water park. So now they are going to undergo an $85 million expansion. $85 million.
That's what caught my eye as far as, and this was just on the heels of an $80 million room expansion. And
there's a lot of money in water parks.
Like putting that into context of what we were just talking about in the first hour with Phil Rocco, which was Act 12 being like $270 million, and how big of a fraction $85 million is for one water park compared to, our shared revenue deal for the entire state.
Yeah, they're putting in three new things: a Wild Wildebeest, which is a 6-person raft ride, a 6-person raft slide, the Green Python, and a 4-lane racing slide, the Cheetah Mat Racers. They all sound like they would be wildly entertaining.
Yeah,
but I don't know. They're putting in a new spa and an adult swim up bar, which at least then you cut out the children.
Mm-hmm.
You still have a crowd swimming up to the bar. I enjoy a swim up bar.
Okay.
It's just for the novelty of it. Like I still get out of the pool to do my drinking, but every once in a while I'll swim up to one just for fun.
I always wonder how often the drink gets spilled into the pool. And what do you do?
One way or another, it's
like
all.
if you spill your entire Mai Tai in the pool, you're just going, well, it'll dilute. It's fine.
Well, I like to sit on. They usually have the concrete like stubs for a stool, and I'll just sit there like I'm James Bond in my Speedo and drink my drink. Never. That's never.
That's never.
The sitting and drinking might happen.
Never worn a Speedo.
7th grade, when I was on a swim team, I had to wear a Speedo. And it was as horrifying as you would think it is. So they're putting in a retractable roof, which is nice.
Which is nice.
More spas, as I said. Food and drink offerings are being expanded. Enhanced seating. And 40-foot wide TV display.
All right.
No mention of bathrooms. Does that scare you at all?
Ew.
That we got this
Just
water
one
park, we're putting all these
bathroom.
things in.
Isn't that what a water park actually is?
I'm glad you said it. I wanted to, and then I thought, no, I'm not going to. I'd love to get some water park sponsors on the program. But yes, that's exactly what I was thinking, especially when you're sitting there drinking at the bar. Why move? Everything's right there.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, we already had one text from Jeff in Fox Point. Says, as a single 52-year-old ginger man, I avoid water parks like the plague, and I am scared to go to water parks, amusement parks, and a Build-A-Bear workshop because people might think I have depraved motives at being those places.
I just don't trust that I'm not going to, because we've gone on the slides that are very curvy, and I'm always worried that I have a lot of mass that's speeding me along, and I don't want to flip off and just be airborne.
You're like the police officer who went into that slide. Well, we talked about this with Bernie's slide when we went last year, as far as how fast you can fly down that thing.
Yeah, I don't know. That worries me because there's nothing but concrete. If you miss the pool, you're done. And, then I don't need all the children screaming and parents coming over and suing me because I traumatized their child forever. This giant man just flew off the slide. Now we're done.
All right,
so,
well,
good for them.
Yeah, if you are a fan of water parks, by 2026, there's going to be a way bigger one at the Kalahari. All right, let's take a break, and we'll be back with more after this.
So close you can smell the rubber on their shoes. Okay, maybe not that close, but as close as you can get. Bucks Insiders on Wisconsin's Midday News with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
The long wait has ended. After a half century, the Milwaukee Bucks are NBA champions once again.
It's Bucks Insiders every Thursday at 12:35. Sponsored by Best Electric and Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Shopco Optical. Start the new year right. Use your vision benefits and schedule your annual comprehensive eye exam. You can check out new frame styles and order your annual supply of contact lenses all in one place. Shopco Optical is committed to quality eye care and will create personalized vision solutions tailored to your specific vision and lifestyle needs. New year, new you, new style. Call Shopco Optical or visit shopco.com to schedule an appointment at a location nearest you.
No matter how many people are in your family, buying new jackets for the cold weather months can be expensive. But when you shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, prices on cold weather jackets will give you a sigh of relief because thrift store prices mean great deals. And right now we have a great selection. Find great deals on cold weather jackets for the family at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it. St. Vincent de Paul.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Market Watcher Brian Wickert. Well, a lot of folks have buying a home on their New Year's resolution list, and while national news headlines talk about the inventory of homes for sale being a lot higher this year, I'm afraid that's just not the case in most of Wisconsin. So how do you make your offer stand out from the others so that someone else doesn't end up sleeping in your dream home? Well, it takes a team of a good real estate agent and a mortgage lender who has all the tools and techniques to help make your offer as attractive as possible in the eyes of that seller. Sure, you can go with a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval, or you can present your offer with an AccuNet, rock-solid, fully verified, and guaranteed pre-approval that might also come with the phrase that really makes sellers happy: no appraisal required. We'll also help you understand exactly what it means in dollars and cents if you do decide to offer over asking or give that seller some appraisal wiggle room. All you have to do to get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval is click on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Great companies are collections of great people, and we have great people. They're the ones that helped us build our reputation. But they only come after you've built something they want to be part of.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Simplify.
Imagine all the things you dream of under one roof. You're thinking of eBay. Fashion, collectibles, car parts. It's all there. Go find the thing that keeps you up at night. eBay. Things people love.
James Imaging Systems, your local document imaging partner. JamesImaging.com.
Oh, my goodness. Sorry. Spanning the state. I'm Brian Noonan.
And I am Kristen Bry. And we got a text on the Sunny Unlimited WTMJ Talk and Text line reminding us that as we talk about indoor water parks, that entire industry was created here in Wisconsin in the Dells in the mid-90s. So I think it was 2000 when the Kalahari opened.
Mm-hmm.
But so it was obviously the Wilderness and Kalahari building on the popularity of, you know, the world's largest water park, Noah's Ark, and the water park capital of the world and all these things. But it's like, oh, what if we put them inside so we're not limited by our weather? And
no, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's a perfect idea.
And then once they were so successful in Wisconsin, only then did the investors expand to other cold weather and even warm weather vacation areas all over the U.S.
Well, if you think about it, it was always a big thing in the upper Midwest during the winter for people to have like birthday parties and stuff at a hotel that had an indoor pool. And it started off as just like the indoor pool with a couple tables. And then I remember near us, the Holiday Inn opened this big holodome, they called it. It had mini golf in there and a fake tropical setting so that there was, it was still, you come get a room at the Holiday Inn, but now you're out in this dome and the kids can play beanbags or mini golf and they can swim, and they'd put a little whirlpool in there for mom and dad, and it just kept growing and growing. Now we've got $85 million improvements to these water parks.
I know. And it is so funny that you mentioned that as far as just remembering how big of a deal it was when you went to a hotel that had an indoor pool in it. It was cool. I remember every time I watch Home Alone 2 around Christmas, because there's this scene when he's at the plaza in Manhattan and there's the pool scene, right? And the big trick of that is there's no pool at the plaza in New York. And so you go as a kid. I remember thinking that was going to be a thing because I think at that point, a lot of the hotels in New York did not. It was not like the Midwest Holiday Inns where they also had provided an indoor pool. Because if you're going to Manhattan for adults, you're not trying to swim in the indoor pool. You're trying to enjoy being in Manhattan.
No,
but as a
you're
kid,
not
they were like, why would they not have a pool?
Oh, but you're right. The luxury you felt when you checked into somewhere as a kid and there was an indoor pool. And now, for most roadside motels or big motel chains or hotel chains that are not, 5 stars, they have the pool. But even a lot of the 5 stars now, they have their health club and the indoor pool and everything.
Well, and it's crazy how far they've come, because in the, maybe even just 20 years ago, I grew up doing indoor swim team in the winters, right? As far as being a competitive swimmer. And the chlorine in indoor pools in the 90s and early 2000s of just your hair would be destroyed and it would give you a headache because being inside with all that chlorine. And now you go to newly constructed pools and they're like the saltwater pools or whatever, so they're still clean, but you don't have that stench of chlorine anymore. And it's like, this is quite nice. This is a huge improvement.
Yeah, see, and now you'll get all these years of going places where you'll be able to enjoy those
without a migraine.
Yeah, without a migraine, and your jewelry turning green and everything else just that went along with all those chemicals. It was and not. I'm not wearing goggles. I'm too cool. And then your eyes are just bleeding out.
Bloodshot. All right, ABC News and local headlines are next.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal could be closer than ever in the 15-month war between Israel and Hamas. The Biden administration signaling that brokered talks are progressing. President Biden today delivering his final remarks at the State Department.
Palestinian people deserve peace and the right to determine their own futures. Israel deserves peace and real security.
Inauguration Day now 1 week out, and security for President-elect Trump's swearing in will be heightened, with the Secret Service ramping up protection in the wake of assassination attempts during the Trump's campaign. In Southern California, firefighters on the front lines of 2 major wildfires still burning after a week of sparking, and crews are mobilizing once again with new red flag warnings in effect due to Santa Ana winds. At least 24 people have died in the Eaton and Palisades fires. Blue Origin scrubbed its new Glen rocket launch today due to a technical issue. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited News Time, 2:31. I'm Julia Fellow. Your top story, Wauwatosa receiving a $1 million federal grant to improve the railroad crossing at Walnut Road. The funds will be used to help replace the current crossing with a safer option, eliminating train-on-vehicle collisions. One option being considered is replacing the current at-grade crossing with an underpass. This comes after nearly $40 million in federal funds was announced Friday for enhancements along Amtrak Borealis line. A pedestrian has now died after being hit by a driver Saturday. Happened at 76 in Silver Spring on the northwest side. 52-year-old pedestrian was crossing 76 and the driver traveling northbound struck the person. Police arrested the 45-year-old driver and charges, we're told, are pending. And this afternoon, a Racine pastor found guilty of attempted sexual exploitation receives his sentence today. Bernabe Leon Alvarez was convicted in October of trying to initiate sex with 2 teenage girls while acting as a church therapist between 2020 and 2023. The case saw several delays as Alvarez is a citizen of Mexico and was in the U.S. illegally. Alvarez faces up to 50 years behind bars. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up about 0.25%, up 300. S&P 500 up 5. NASDAQ up 143. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Let's take a look at your roads to the WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. 4145 southbound at Capitol Drive, bumper-to-bumper traffic from Hampton to Burleigh. Just be aware of that. Really sunny out. Be aware you might have to use your visor a few times. Other than that, it's very nice. Here is your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, cold at the lake, 4. Inland, 1 below 0. Wind chills could feel like it's 20 below 0. Tomorrow, sunny, breezy, very cold, a high of 16. Wind chills again at 20 below 0. Wednesday, sunny. Get to see the sun again. High of 25. Thursday, warmer, a high of 39. Friday, mild, a high of 42 degrees. Right now in Madison, it's 13 degrees. Green Bay, 9 degrees. And Waukesha, 14 degrees. Outdoor Living Unlimited News Time, 2:33.
I found a fountain of youth down there at QC Kinetics.
That's Henry Hinton, feeling like his young, active self again after treatments at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine.
I still have trouble walking down steps as I get older. I've had one treatment so far, and I can already tell a difference in my knee.
And that treatment at QC Kinetics used Henry's own natural healing properties, concentrated and placed right at the source of the pain. So Henry and patients just like him will enjoy long-term relief without surgery or downtime.
My knee is not hurting. I remember I was walking down some steps yesterday, and I thought, wow, this is not hurting when I walk down steps. I'm all in on it. I'm all in on QC Kinetics.
It's time to wind back the clock to days without constant joint pain. Start with a call to QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
I've just been feeling so sluggish lately. You should try the Metamucil 2-Week Challenge. The Metamucil 2-Week Challenge? Yeah, Metamucil 4-in-1 Fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Start your daily routine now, and in 2 weeks, you could be feeling great. Well, it's been 2 weeks. How you feeling? Lighter and feeling great.
If you want to feel lighter by promoting digestive health, sign up to take the 2-week challenge at Metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Welcome back to Spanning the State. I'm Kristen Bry.
And I'm Brian Noonan. It might not seem like a high priority for a lot of college students, but for many, legal problems can present a significant hurdle. Since 2019, students at Wisconsin's public universities, technical colleges, and 2 tribal colleges have had access to free legal help through Law for Learners, a program offered in Wisconsin by the nonprofit Ascendium, whose focus is removing barriers preventing people from achieving the academic and career goals that matter most to them. The program was originally called Lawyers for Learners. It has served 3,400 students over the last 5 years. Rebecca Rapp is the General Counsel and Chief Privacy Officer for Ascendium Education Group. She joins us to share a few more details about the program. Rebecca, thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me today. I'm glad to be here.
So what's the evolution of Law for Learners?
Law for Learners is a collaboration with Ascendium, several legal aid organizations throughout the state, and then our school partners. It started in 2019. Initially, it was at Madison College and Milwaukee Area Technical College. And the thought really was that we understand that students who have issues getting their basic needs secured often have difficulty being able to stay in school and succeed at school. And we recognized that legal issues can be one of those impediments to people staying and succeeding at school. So it was really a collaboration aimed at addressing the legal issues that could cause people to not be able to attend school or be able to stay there.
So how does the program work? Do you accompany clients to court?
It depends. So we partner with schools that have the trust and the ears of their students. They can help students identify that stressors are legal issues, and then they can help get them connected with the Law for Learners resources. Law for Learners has a central intake page, and then we triage cases based on where they are in the state and then the type of legal issue, and then we connect them with a legal resource, one of our legal aid partners. The types of services we offer vary depending on the legal issue. For some, we'll represent somebody throughout a proceeding. For example, if they're getting something removed from their criminal record. There's other areas like family law or housing law where we may provide an hour or brief consultation with somebody.
And what are the main issues, the legal issues that you've seen at Law for Learners? So what kind of things do you deal with?
We see a range of issues, but the big ticket items every month, we have a large volume of family law matters, housing matters, criminal records matters, consumer debt, and immigration. Those are consistently our top volume items.
And so, go ahead, Brian.
Oh no, I was just a quick follow. Are the learners who come to Law for Learners, are they from 18 all the way up? Are these just young people going to college? Is it all age students?
They can be all ages, and I think, there's an increasing number of folks who are not coming straight out of high school and going to college. There's people coming back, and so there's people of all ages and all situations in life, including a number of parents, veterans, you name it. And we will help them all. I'll also note that students are our focus, but we, take a broad definition of learners. We recognize that there's different paths to post-secondary education and training. So that could be somebody at a job center or an apprenticeship program, but focused on learners, but define learners broadly and to include more than just students.
And so what type of training is offered? What type of training is offered to university staff in order for them to know which students need to be referred to Law for Learners?
I'm really glad you asked that question. It's very important. And 65% or more of our intakes come from school staff recommendations. So we really work with staff so they can identify stressors or things that people may say that constitute a legal issue. For example, if somebody's looking at a healthcare profession, they may be talking about a criminal record or something that may prevent them from going into that career. So instead of just having the discussion about whether that's a barrier, understanding that there may be legal solutions for that, and then that there may be legal help available is something that we want the staff to know. So we'll really work to have them understand the issue spot and then know about the resource. Another example would be you may have a landlord that's not returning a security deposit, or you may have an inhabitable apartment. And those are things that may have a core underlying legal issue that we could potentially help with.
Now, what about learners who they don't really know where to go? What kind of hurdles are they facing as far as not knowing even where to start, or what could happen to them if they don't get something resolved?
I think that's huge. There's a lot of research on the fact that, number one, a lot of people don't know that their stressors are legal issues with potential legal solutions. Number two, even if somebody suspects there may be a legal issue, they may have had a bad experience with a lawyer or not really know any lawyers or how to get started, so they may be really intimidated or just feel not comfortable with the legal system at all. And then we know in Wisconsin there are a lot of legal deserts or areas, particularly up north, or counties where there's few, if any, legal professionals. So you wouldn't really even know where to start. We also know that for a lot of the free legal help that's available, there's turn-away rates of 50% or more, just given a lack of capacity and underfunding of legal aid organizations. So all of those can present barriers to folks trying to get legal help.
Yeah, because I can imagine if you are, a broke college kid walking into somewhat like a lawyer's lobby and then being like, I don't think you have any money to pay me. But
right.
Yeah. And so how many students has Law for Learners helped so far?
We've had about over 3,000
wow.
intakes since we started. So quite a few. Yes.
And when did you start?
And those have come. We started in 2019, again, just at Madison College and Milwaukee Area Technical College. Initially, the goal was to start there and then maybe try to expand to 3 other technical colleges in the next year or so. But then after COVID hit, there were a lot of terrible things that happened with COVID, but it also created new opportunities to create virtual or remote legal help structures. So we really took advantage of that, and then were able to scale more quickly around the state.
Interesting.
And where does your funding come from?
Ascendium really, as one of the nation's largest funders in the post-secondary education and workforce training, access, and success space, is a major and consistent funder and very committed to Law for Learners. The legal aid organizations definitely put in a lot of sweat equity, and then a couple of them have gotten some other grants, including Legal Action of Wisconsin got a pro bono innovation grant from the Legal Services Corporation when we first got started.
Very nice.
So I think, yeah, I feel very grateful to work at a company like Ascendium that truly is so mission-focused and driven, and really recognizes access to legal help as part and parcel of its mission to access to opportunity through education and training.
Do you have any a success story that you can share? Something that somebody was in some legal trouble and Law for Learners got them out?
Yeah, we have a lot of success stories. Some of my favorite come in the criminal records cleanup space. So you'll have somebody who wants to go into healthcare. That's a very in-demand profession, but there are limitations if you have things on your criminal record. And we have been very successful in getting arrest records removed, getting criminal convictions expunged or removed entirely from records. So folks, when they're looking at these jobs, they have entirely clean records going in. So those have been some huge and consistent wins.
Nice.
That's a great service. Well, Rebecca, we appreciate your time today. Rebecca Rapp is the General Counsel and Chief Privacy Officer for Ascendium Education Group. If people want to find out more about this, where can they go?
We have a website, so you can go to lawforlearners.com or info@lawforlearners.com, or you can email us, or we have a website, lawforlearners.com, where there's an intake form and more information.
Terrific. Well, Rebecca, thanks for your time today. We appreciate it.
Great. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the time.
Take care. When we come back, did you have any legal problems in college, Kristen?
Well, it's funny that she said we had a situation where even though I was in, Northern California, so it doesn't get as cold as it was today in Wisconsin,
Sure.
but I lived for a little over a year, I lived in a very old building, and it would get really cold still in the winter, or cold enough that a space heater was necessary.
Okay.
And the building was so old that we could only ever have one space heater on at a time between my roommate and I. Otherwise, the breaker would, the electricity would go out. And it was one of those things that our hands felt kind of tied, because I was like, what were we going to do? As far as I didn't know what our rights were as tenants because it was an old building and we knew it was an old building going in. And it was one of those things that we just kind of accepted it was, instead of exploring further as far as what we would actually be able to be like, no, we have a right to have enough electricity to have heat.
That would make sense. Yes. Yeah. It's amazing how many, when you're a young college person or even a little older, a lot of those housing issues are legal things that you don't know how to handle.
Oh, yeah.
So this makes sense. And then you forget any kind of record, and listen, everybody makes mistakes. There's a point where should one little mistake then cost you your whole life, and you never can get a job because when you were a teenager, you did something stupid.
Yeah.
So it's a good service. All right. You've heard of the Bermuda Triangle. It's down in the Caribbean where it's nice and warm. Oh, sure, that one's there, maybe. But what about a Bermuda Triangle right in Lake Michigan off the coast? Ooh, we'll talk about that and more after this. It's Spanning the State.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. As you probably know, when you buy one dinner, you get a second dinner free every night at the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club. That's incredible. Well, through January 15th, when you buy a $100 gift card, you get a $20 gift card free. Buy $250, get $50 free. Buy $500 in gift cards, get $125 in free gift cards. Incredible bargains. Business owners, managers, Fox and Hound's gift cards make perfect year-round gifts because everyone loves a free dinner. When you buy one dinner, you get one free. That offer is like when you buy one gift card, getting a second gift card for free. Your company will save hundreds of dollars and your employees will truly appreciate you. It's a great place. Festive, fun, delicious food. If you didn't have your company party in December, have it in January at the Fox and Hounds. Half of your employee dinners are free. The Fox and Hounds, just off Highway 167 near Holy Hill. Order your free gift cards at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com. It's the famous Fox and Hounds.
Elvis is back in the building at the Fireside Theater in Fort Atkinson. Live on stage, January 9th through February 23rd. Call 920-563-9505 or visit firesidetheater.com. Elvis only at the Fireside Theater.
Vince Vitrano here for Connect Chiropractic. Numbness, tingling in the hands, arms, legs, feet. Time to go see Dr. Alex Young and my team at Connect Chiropractic. Regular chiropractic care can bring life-changing results for folks who suffer from neuropathy and fibromyalgia, nervous system issues that can be corrected. And no worries about twisting, cracking, or popping. The docs at Connect Chiro use all the same method, a special tool that is pain-free and effective for your adjustments. Visit them in Delafield and Wauwatosa or get started online at GoConnectChiro.com.
Winning in the NFL comes down to the basics, blocking and tackling. In retirement, the certainty of protection and income are the keys to success. And as a former NFL player myself, I have experience with both. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons. Having played on winning teams with the Steelers and Falcons, studying game films helped me mentally prepare for the challenges ahead. Now I star in a new Hollywood documentary called The Retirement Deception to help you visualize and prepare for your fourth quarter of life. You see, you don't retire on your nest egg, but rather the income it can produce. This film shows you exactly how to protect your retirement from stock market drops and produce more income than you thought possible. And it's free for you to view. Call 844-763-2837 right now for your free streaming code to watch The Retirement Deception. Don't risk your retirement savings at the goal line. You don't need to be risky to have a winning strategy. Call today to speak with an all-pro retirement specialist to get your free streaming code to watch The Retirement Deception. Call today, 844-763-2837. That's 844-763-2837. MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Ready to tackle your home improvement project this winter? Exterior Pros and Baths is here to help you score big with quality home exterior and shower upgrades. As a 5-time President's Club Award winner, Exterior Pros is not playing around. With flexible financing, it's never been easier to invest in your home without breaking the bank. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274. Trust the pros and kick off your home transformation today.
Black water, keep on rolling. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on?
Welcome back to Spanning the State. I'm Kristen Bry.
And I am Brian Noonan. I'm not a big myth believer. I know during the 70s and 80s, there was a lot of talk about the Bermuda Triangle. Did you ever buy into that, Kristen?
I don't know. Buy into it versus just know that it's a thing.
Believe that planes are getting sucked out of the sky over this parcel of ocean.
No, I did not believe that.
No, neither did I. But maybe you'd believe it if it was closer to home. Lake Michigan, the Great Lakes have their own mysterious triangle, according to mythology. It's in Lake Michigan, allegedly has claimed many vessels traversing the Great Lakes. We know there's a lot of shipwrecks. We talk about that all the time. Perhaps
that's true.
It's this.
That's true.
Well, the alleged Lake Michigan Triangle stretches roughly 60 miles from Manitowoc to Ludington, Michigan, and about 130 miles south to Benton Harbor, Michigan. No scientific evidence behind the triangle. Surprise, surprise. Nothing at all. But some contend that mythologizing the events does a disservice to the men and women who've lost their lives in maritime disasters. It's estimated there are more than 6,000 shipwrecks through all 5 lakes. That's from data. That's data right there.
Well, we've talked about some of them. We've talked about all of the things that they could be found at the bottom of Lake Michigan.
There's all kinds of things. They think the real deal is high traffic and weather patterns are likely to blame. Lake Michigan was one of the busiest of the Great Lakes due to the major cities like Chicago and Milwaukee. It was also the first lake hit by storms coming from the Great Plains. So it's all about science, not about magic.
But it is fun to think that maybe there was just some Poseidon of the Lake Michigan that was sucking up ships.
Great Lakes Ursula sucking them down into her web of despair. All right, let's do this. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up at Spanning the State.
Don't count us out. Not
Lillard
yet.
scoops to the hoop, lays it in. The Bucks have taken a 1-point. Lopez in transition squeezes up a 3, and he drilled it. The Bucks throwing fire.
This season is far from over.
To work with, drives inside and stuffs it down with the right hand. 59 points now for Giannis. He's tapping his chest as he goes the other way, saying, "This is my house.
We are the home of the Bucks.
This is my house."
WTMJ.
Whether it's 24/7 emergency service or it's just time to replace your furnace, at Quality we'll be out so fast you won't even notice the heat being off. And if you're buying a high-efficiency furnace from Armstrong or Carrier, you'll qualify for state and federal tax rebates that'll pay for a big chunk of the cost. This is Anthony Zanevsky from Quality, where you'll get the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. If you like being prepared like I do, you know the value of a generator. When the power goes out, it's a terrible inconvenience. And that's why Quality installs effortless whole home generators that give you power when everybody else's is out. This is Anthony Zanevsky from Quality, where you'll get the signature service you deserve and whole home generators that make power outage fears subside.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric.
I'm Brett Matchke, and you're due for service.
Ridgelawns.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Elizabeth and John bought their starter home 8 years ago, BC, as in before children. Now, with 2 elementary school-age kids, they wanted to make a move to the suburbs for a bigger home with more yard. But they didn't know if or how they could buy their next home without selling their current one. Fortunately, a friend who was a multi-time AccuNet client connected them with us, and we soon determined they could, in fact, afford to buy without selling first, which was a big relief to them and their real estate agent. Armed with an AccuNet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval, it still took several weeks to find the right home for the next chapter in their life. But I'm happy to report that Elizabeth, John, and their boys opened their presents on Christmas morning in their new home after closing just a few days before. Whether you're buying your first home or your next home, go with the pros who have all the tools and know-how to make your home buying experience as smooth and successful as humanly possible. Get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
I believe it's time for me to fly.
Indeed, indeed. We got a couple minutes before we hand it over to the Wisconsin's afternoon news. But if you missed any part of today's show, you can listen to it as a podcast. Did you know that?
I did know that, but I'm in the know. Other people probably don't.
I know.
So
I feel like encouraging people on demand. It's the wave of the future. It's not that it's just if you missed it, it's gone forever. It's there.
No.
It's recorded. You can go back.
Yeah, back in the day, if you missed the show, you were done. There's so much FOMO. You would cry bitter tears. Now you can go anywhere that you get podcasts and just download it, listen at your leisure.
Exactly.
As you walk, as you drive, whatever you want to do.
You can pause it.
Can you?
All the things. You can pause a podcast. Can you believe it? We have the technology.
It's listen, sometimes I feel so out of touch. It's almost baffling.
But yes, anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, or you can go to WTMJ.com, go to the Spanning the State page, and we are right there. All right. Well, we will hand it over. We got another show tomorrow. Brian will be back in studio.
I'll be back.
And we'll do it all again.
Sounds good.
See ya.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a good